or you can cut it to 2 minutes, or you can cut down the list of speakers from 13 to 10 and have everyone do 3 minutes. It's at the will of council decision. You have 13 speakers. You can let the 13 speakers speak for 2 minutes apiece. You can cut the speakers down to 10 people and give everyone 3 minutes apiece, or you may do 3 minutes per person for the 13 speakers. You gotta make a motion.
I move that we make the public speaking 2 minutes per person.
Councilman Cover.
I second the motion.
Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Cuthbert?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith-Lee? No. Councilmember Wilson-Smith? No. Councilmember Myers?
Aye.
Councilmember Hill?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hart?
No.
Mayor Firm?
Aye.
That motion's passed. First speaker, Richard Stewart. Can I please have everyone with the noise to at least give respect to everyone who's please coming up to the podium? Thank you.
My name is Richard A. Stewart at 129 Ross Street. I just want to say that I've learned so much in the last 2 days and learned to be appreciative of Petersburg through the award I received at the St. Paul Church. It was outstanding. A lot of very important people was there, and they really enjoyed the moment. But yet today was my highlight of my life when UVA came to Pocahontas and gave their briefing. I had Mr. Cover there, Ms. Michelle, she was there, Peters, we had Dickinson, we had a lot of them there. But one thing I learned, Pocahontas is the back door to the lofts of downtown, the green zone. People living in those lofts do not have a backyard, and Pocahontas is going to become the backyard to downtown lofts. UVA also spoke about the former Roper brother and the importance of the river. I think that City Council, and even if the public could hear that briefing, it'll be very knowledgeable to understand what is happening in Petersburg with Exit 52. In a lot of those areas like the Electrical Heights and Fifth Ward, they have light property and different things, and historical property could benefit from a report like that. And Mr. Cover, he was outstanding and questioned things there about this study because it was so much, and I really enjoyed it. I thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Corey Harris.
Good evening, Corey Harris, 2316 Anderson Street. I can't help but to think of the words of Martin Luther King. The buoyancy of hope, the fatigue of despair. There's no hope here. All it is despair. Everybody talks about improving. But as African Americans, we've heard that word for far too long. What about winning? What about being competitive? Now, I've heard so many people talk about people coming to city council. For what? To be ignored? Why should this place be filled up with a bunch of people who are not being listened to? We have single mothers with children who have to get their kids ready for school tomorrow. Look at your watches. But you want to cut the time of the people that want to be heard. I am Petersburg, right? No, not at all. It is pathetic. It is sad. As a body, I don't trust you, I don't trust the media, and I certainly don't trust Robert Bob. Thank you.
Next speaker, Gloria Campson.
Good evening. I'm Gloria Campson from 1919 Mattox Avenue in Petersburg. I thank you for seeing me today. The reason I'm here is because I want you to come out with an ordinance to stop people from hanging their laundry in the front yard. Yes. I have a picture here of a house down the road from me, and I want you to see it. And please help us to keep the city clean and looking good, because it's the only way that it's going to progress. The houses are going to be sold, and people would like to come back and live in Petersburg. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, Rowena Carter. Next speaker, Arthur Capuano.
Hello, 1931 Mattox Avenue, Petersburg, Virginia. Well, basically, I just talked before about my hopes and dreams for Petersburg, but there's something else that's happened in the last 20 years with computers. People talk to each other. Nothing's done in private anymore. And I think that Petersburg should really rethink having a choke point on Route 95 and using it for a speed trap. I talk to thousands of people up and down the East Coast, and Petersburg has a horrible reputation. You mention Petersburg, people have tickets, they have things they're not happy with. And we're trying to bring in people here to spend their money and to stay overnight. They stay in a hotel, they get robbed. They walk around the streets, if there's not enough people, they get robbed. They drive down the highway and they get robbed again. And is the money that's taken in revenue and tickets really worth the bad hype that gets around very quickly today with the internet? People are communicating. This isn't the 1950s anymore. And we're not doing 30 miles an hour on Route 1. We should update to that. And personally, all these police would be better served in town, taking care of business here and making sure things are right. Just how I see it. Thank you.
Next speaker, Willie Noyes.
Good afternoon again.
Good afternoon.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. My name is Willie Noyes, 1508 Circle Drive here in Petersburg. And I have two things. And number one is the closed session. I would like for the council to at least say or estimate how long they're going to be in the session, to give me some idea how long to sit out here waiting. The next thing is I'm the vice president of Neighborhood Watch, named last year. And as the neighborhood #1 watch, I've seen the neighborhood improve, and now it's like a contest between the citizens, one trying to outdo the other one. And a couple of tasks that I have is to go around and issue out yard of the month or whatever. And Councilman Hart has come up with a thing about recognizing people that do well. And I be going around not only in Western Hill neighborhood, but all over the city, doing the same thing and suggesting some names for them. And with all the improvements, with the money spent on the household itself and the yard maintenance and whatever, it looks good. But there's the thing, we need some help with the landlord when they evict people out of the homes. Sometimes it be a whole house full of furniture and all the garbage and trash because the tenant is angry, and he said, why should they take the care of doing that? I think that each ward leader should, get their heads together and figure out how they can get more response out of the landlord. Thank you.
Next speaker, Theodore Nelson. Next speaker, Mary Carter.
Good evening, Mayor and other City Council.
Good evening.
I'm Mary Carter, 1609 North Halcombe Drive. I've been in this city since 1973, and right now I'm a very unhappy camper. But I'm representing the seniors and the youth of this city. I thank you for putting it back in the budget so that it might be continued. I also hope that you will approve it. In so doing, I drew up a petition and I'd like to read it to you. A petition of Mary Carter, program participant, 1609 North Halcombe Drive. We, the undersigned, are requesting members of the City Council and Mayor to continue funding the Parks and Leisure programs for senior citizens and youth. Parks and Leisure has provided a vital service to the community as it implements and sustains character, livelihood, and most importantly, serves as a therapeutic recreation for both the youth and seniors of the city. I'd like to present to you 110 signatures. Wow. I got to say one thing. We would have had plenty of seniors here tonight, but we were told we should be here on May 8th. Otherwise, we would have. I do have another comrade back there. Thank you.
Amen. All right.
Next speaker, Ron Block.
I'll try to make my book as fast as I can. Ron Flock, 1708 Pender. Over the last few months, the Rob Bob Group has put little, if any, effort or energy into anything other than selling our water and sewer infrastructure. The Rob Bob Group has been peddling scare tactics, fabricated dollar amounts through the entire time. First, the $97 million price tag. Then $40 million for South Central went away, 3.9 for Arwell went away, now we're down to $52 million. But they don't advertise that part of it. They've already put the scare out there, and so only the people that are coming to these meetings understand that the 40+ million went away. Second came the pictures of all the degraded pipes. They put that out there. If they're on the city website, you can go look at them. But in the meeting, the disclaimer was, those aren't our pipes. They're just pictures that we got off the internet. More scare tactics. Now, this utility scare that we all just had. If you look at that letter, all of the negative is emboldened. All of it. The one thing that should have been emboldened on that letter was that we did do a test and it came back good. That is the only thing that should have been emboldened. If you look at the letter, the number 0, where it says the number of tests run, not only is it emboldened, but the font is double the font of anything else on that letter to draw your attention, to scare you to death, to think we're living in Flint, Michigan. Councilwoman Smith has had meetings with Aqua and America for all of us. And I went to one, I couldn't make it this Sunday. And I can understand a little sense of frustration because the crowds are not big. Well, the fact of the matter is we don't care to listen to them. We don't want to sell our water. We're not interested. In my opinion, and I'm sure that I speak for at least 75% of this city, just get together, you take a vote, you come up with the funding to pay off their contract and get them the hell out of our city. Thank you.
Next speaker, Lafayette Jefferson.
Lafayette Jefferson, 1746 Brandon Avenue. How you doing, council?
How you doing?
All right. I'm also tired of the scare tactics directed towards the citizens of Petersburg. Earlier today, Mr. Terrell mentioned it, pushing the button, and it may have been a mishap. But, sir, as a Marine, you know that when you're in a leadership position, such as city manager, that you're responsible for everything that happens or does not happen under your watch. And all we've heard from Robert Bob is how awesome his team is, how productive, highly effective, and highly qualified his assembled team is. We're not seeing it. We're not seeing it. And the reason I'm telling you this, y'all may have got lucky, because walking up here seemed like it messed up my computer. But the bottom line is that either your staff is lying to you, or either you have no control over your staff, or either you're actually lying to the citizens of Petersburg and the city council and using this whole ruse as plausible deniability. And the thing that I want city council to know is that this isn't actually the first, and I seriously doubt it'll be the last time that they've manipulated and tried to scare the citizens of Petersburg. The first attempt was a letter that went out from a company by the name of HomeServe. And they're actually partners with Aqua, Virginia, which they have a representative, third row from the back, all the way in the blue. But the bottom line is they sent this letter to the citizens of Petersburg telling them that their pipes are in danger of busting, it'll cost them a lot of money, and that we can make sure that you're protected for a low, low price every month if you get this insurance. Now, it's strange that all of this, that these letters typically go out places that Aqua is trying to infiltrate. And if you do a quick Google search, you'll see that they've been labeled as scam. You'll see that they have been cited by some other municipalities, and you will see that they also have a big PR thing being partners with Alpha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Bob Rudolph.
Barb Rudolph, 1675 Mount Vernon Street. We've been talking quite a bit about this letter and this test that didn't take place in 2014. There's a missing chapter in the story that I haven't heard anybody mention, and that's this morning there was a press release put on the city's website, which we get email notifications of, and that press release seemed to be inaccurate and misleading based on other things that we've seen. It said that the notification to citizens, which was required, we all agree it was required, that was going to be put on the utility bill. It didn't say anything about the special notice that was sent yesterday. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because We're told in this press release that it was going to be on a utility bill, nothing about the special letter that was sent separately. I don't know if it's going to be on the utility bill or not, but my question is, why go to the expense of sending this separate letter when it could have been put on the utility bill and that would have satisfied the requirement? I know a citizen called and talked to Mr. Byerly, whose name was on the letter, and he told her, and this is a credible person, he told her that it cost something like $6,000 to mail out these notices. That's money we don't have, and that's more than just a little blip or a little mistake at the way Mr. Terrell was trying to characterize this. I'd say this is it's kind of a big screw up, and it's a screw up with PR. It's a screw up that, as Councilman Hill said, people were, the council didn't know this was going on. There's a whole, actually a whole constellation of things that went wrong here. And then when you add in some of the other, like the water meeting that was scheduled for the next day that no one was told about except a couple people in the press, including council members, which you remember that. And what the example that Councilman Cuthbert mentioned earlier about the public information notice in the progress index for something that hadn't come before council yet, I just want to point out that the Robert Vaughn Group has recommended to continue contracting out the public information services of the city because they're doing such a great job. And I'm just going to say, as a citizen and a critic, I don't think they're doing a great job. I think it's creating bigger problems and a lot of embarrassment for the city. So consider the alternative of getting a dedicated person who actually is here all the time and is paying attention. Thank you.
Next speaker, Raymond Crockett.
Good evening. Raymond Crockett, 248 Southwood Drive. I have a couple things said tonight, very short and quick. I think Mr. Robert Bob been here long enough. We need a city manager. We're hiring other department heads for what? City manager should be number one on our priority list so Mr. Bob Group can get out and save the citizen money. As long as they stay in here, as long as it takes us to get a city manager, it's costing the taxpayer more money. I think city council needs to know your job, your role, and what the city manager's job is, because the city manager works for you and y'all work for the taxpayer, the citizens of Petersburg. When you get a city manager in, make sure he reports to you and the things that he wants to do, we can do it. We need to set a salary for the city manager, attach it with a bonus. We're gonna have to pay $175,000, $180,000 because other localities doing it because they have more people. The city of Richmond, I think, have about 250,000 people here. I don't know how many Chesapeake we have, but we only have about 31,000 to 32,000. If we can pay a city manager come in with $150,000 with a $20,000 bonus attached to it, if he proves himself there. That way you're not liable for paying him $175,000, $170,000. If he does a good job, he got that bonus. He will come in and work. The old saying that we got to pay somebody because the other areas is paying that money. You know, the job market now has changed. You're getting young kids come out of college that'd be glad to come in here and run this city for $150,000. If I got a $20,000 bonus, if I can prove myself here. Another thing I want to bring out, in Petersburg, we have a problem with our yards being cut. The social service department grass over is about 14 inches high. That's a shame. It's a disgrace. We're supposed to be serving people, and the city property look that bad. We have a problem. We have inmates could have been locked up in the city of Petersburg jail, could be taking care of this problem, but we do. We send them away. We need to look at every in-house that we can do and anywhere we can save money. Do not hire nobody else till we hire a city manager. Thank you.
Next speaker, Gloria Brown.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gloria Brown, 1557 South Sycamore Street, and as you can see, I'm very tired. Because guess what? It's 10:30 at night, and this meeting started at 6:30. I plan my day every other Tuesday to make sure that I am at a meeting to do business starting at 6:30. At 6:29, you handle business, and for the public speakers, the sign-in sheet is lifted right at 6:29. That's about doing business and staying on task. Now, what I don't appreciate, I love y'all all, as you know, but I gotta keep it straight. I do not appreciate waiting while y'all are in closed session. I know you have business to take care of, but from what I can remember, you used to have closed session before the meeting started. Now, with that said, because I didn't even come up to say that, I came up to address tightening up exit 52, and as the young man just said, when you're getting off the exit, we're trying to attract. And I see that they recorrected the, I guess when they was gonna do two ways. But the pillars are still there, and then the grass is high, and some of the city property, like economic development, the city's high. I know that staff has been cut, but that thoroughfare needs to be tight when people come through, and not see just like a work zone. But going back to a point that I've brought up before, respecting people's time. Now, when y'all voted, she said she had 13 people, 3 minutes. That was 3 people over. Come on, yo. 9 minutes, and I waited for y'all. All of us waited for y'all for an hour. We don't know how long y'all gonna be there. And we waited for you for an hour. It's 10:30, 11 o'clock. I have kids. I have things to do. I have business to take care of. And I know, like I said before, people are getting up at 6 in the morning and having a full day. So if you want us to stay on task, please stay on task. Respect. Please. Please, I thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, visitor reports from the mayor and other members of city council. Item A, receive